The Super Bowl was yesterday, and left a lot of people a lot of things to talk about. The first thing, I went on DAZN at like 5:30, and I wanted to check out the pregame, and I saw that I couldn't find the pregame, but I found this countdown, and I was watching this DAZN countdown for the Super Bowl, and it was probably the worst pregame show I've ever seen. Like, they were showing an hour out from the biggest sporting event in the world of the year, and they're talking about the Jake Paul Gibb fight, and they were showing, they weren't just showing highlights, they were showing analysts what their predictions were about a fight that happened 2 days earlier between two YouTubers before the biggest sporting event in the world of the year. I don't know, DAZN really disappointed
ridiculous.
me.
And also too about DAZN and that fight. They had that fight on a Thursday night. And the main event didn't start till almost midnight, which is ridiculous too.
Yeah. If you're working,
why don't you just have that on the Saturday night for the Super Bowl? And then why are you still talking about it an hour before the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't think we saw the field until 6:30. It was all pre-recorded. It was a bunch of people sitting outside in Miami, and it looked like they recorded it the day before in the afternoon. I don't know, it was ridiculous. I'm very disappointed in DAZN.
Fair enough. The one thing that didn't disappoint, I think, is the game didn't disappoint.
No, I think that
I believe it wasn't as high scoring as people thought it was going to be, but I think it was still a very competitive, very good game.
Yeah, and I think going into the game, looking at the odds, it was basically a pick 'em. I know, putting your money down, you were back and forth the whole week. I think that's where a lot of people's heads were, and really that was the game we saw. It was really back and forth, exciting, lots of good defense, lots of good offense, some bad decisions in there, but overall, good, well played football game.
The score really doesn't do justice for the game because Kansas City kind of put it on in the end with that last touchdown from Damian Williams to push the score up. It really was a close game all the way through. And you're right. The 2 weeks leading up, I flipped back and forth talking to you, 49ers to the Chiefs. And sadly, I ended up going with the 49ers at the last minute, and that kind of bit me in the ass. But you know what? Not all great picks win, Chris.
No, not all great picks win. Sometimes Lady Luck, sprinkles in a little bit extra, right?
Yeah.
To either go your way or go against you, so that's.
And I mean, if you would have told me that Patrick Mahomes was going to have probably the worst 3 quarters of his career to start the game, I would have taken that bet 100 times.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you look at the Chiefs, they're the start of something special. 3 playoff games this year where they came behind from double digits. Twice 10 points, and with the Texans was 25, if I remember correctly, in the first quarter. To at least 20, I think it was maybe 24. It's just incredible what they've been able to do.
It's been a fantastic playoff run for them. And I thought really, personally, if this game went, if they were going to be down late, I didn't think the luck was going to. I thought the luck was going to run out with these late game kind of pushes. I think that was a tall order to ask for that again in a Super Bowl after 3 hard fought playoff games. But they were able to pull it off. So
yeah, I mean, it helps when you're playing against Kyle Shanahan, who's kind of known for giving up some big leads in Super Bowls.
Yeah, man.
But also Andy Reid getting the monkey off his back, finally coming up in the big game after falling short so many times, most of the time to the Patriots, so it helped that they weren't playing them. But Andy Reid, now you look at his, I think he's a Hall of Famer before this game. I think so too. But now he's probably a first ballot.
Yeah, I think that's the real distinction, right? First ballot. I think he's pretty synonymous with the great coaches of the modern age. But that he's had that one thing, you need that one ring, right? And that's all it takes to kind of push you over.
It shifts your whole career once you get that ring.
It's totally a perspective changer on the whole thing. It makes and definitely a first ballot now. I think it's no question. You're a fool if you don't think he's getting in first ballot.
Yeah, 100. One ring will change the outlook of your entire career. To shift from a player to a coach. Look at a career of Aaron Rodgers versus a Dan Marino. Look at what that one ring has done for Aaron Rodgers versus Dan Marino. Nobody talks about him as one of the great Well, I mean, people talk about him as a great quarterback, but not one of the greatest. And that's simply just because he doesn't have a ring on his finger.
Yeah. And I mean, you take a guy recently retired, Eli Manning, who really, I mean, if you look at the trajectory of the whole career, it turns out to be like a 500 career.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of that's the last
500. Yeah, that's how he ended.
So the last 3 seasons he hasn't had any help from the team, but still, I mean, like the only thing really getting him into that Hall of Fame talk is the rings. It really makes a huge difference how you come up into the big game.
And I mean, he's 100% a Hall of Famer in my books. Simply, you beat those 2 Patriots teams, especially the 2007 Patriots.
Yeah,
you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Really. I mean, you literally stopped one of the most historic seasons, like what would have been one of the most historic seasons in the NFL. A lot to be said for that.
Yeah. So now getting more into the game.
Yeah.
Like where do you think the 49ers really went wrong? Because in my opinion, I think it was they didn't get enough pressure on Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like Mahomes, he had so much time in the pocket. Like his O-line was the Secret Service. Like he was getting so much protection. He had so much mobility. Like he had so much time.
Yeah, because it seemed like for me, it seemed like he'd be in the pocket for well over 5 seconds. And he'd just run around, and somehow Tyreek Hill would be wide open downfield.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, he was insane. By the way, Troy Aikman used the word "beat" while describing a Tyreek Hill play. Like I think he was saying how he beat the cornerback there, and that gave me a laugh talking about Tyreek Hill.
I don't know if you saw this either, too, which was it was my buddy that I was watching with. He pointed it out after the game. They're on the field, and Tyreek Hill's kid is sitting on his shoulders. And if you don't know the story, Google yourself Tyreek Hill legal troubles, and you'll have yourself a field day and realize that maybe the Chiefs are kind of a piece of shit franchise for keeping him around. Now they got some real good they got some real good people in that organization, but they also got some pretty shitty ones.
Yeah, Hill was on my fantasy team this year. It wasn't about ethics. It was about the stats.
That's I'm not gonna lie, that swayed my opinion a bit on the 49ers. I put my money with him. But then again, too, like Andy Reid's a class act for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, class act for the Chiefs. Like they do got some good people in that organization.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Mahomes and Reid, like you can't be more happy than them. Seeing them together on the field, holding up that trophy. 2 guys that couldn't deserve it more. I felt another place the like San Francisco maybe like was hurting a little bit with just in the pace of play. Like it was a very fast game. Like it felt like in the first half, like there was a lot more points scored than there actually were because it was just moving so fast.
Well, I think too is with the run game for the 49ers, it uses so much clock. And Jimmy Garoppolo really is kind of a dink and dunk quarterback.
Yeah.
And it uses a lot of clock. And you're right. The first half did seem to really fly by.
Yeah, and I think where you're talking about defense, like I think the Chiefs were moving a little bit too fast. Like there was just plays where they would cut right through, and this defense that was talked up a lot really kind of fell apart in the second half. Like I think that's really where I think the defense was holding up pretty well in the first. They were doing a pretty good job. Like Mahomes was coming out pretty hot, but they were keeping him. They were stopping them. Like there was that one play where in the first or either the first or the second where they got pretty close and then they stopped them and limited them to the field goal. I think on like the 20-yard line. That was a big play. Like that was a play where I was looking at the Chiefs were making that drive and I was like, man, San Francisco defense. Not looking too good on this drive, and then they ended up limiting them to a field goal. And I was like, that's exactly what they needed to do in that situation. Because
I agree. And then, like by the time the fourth quarter came around, Richard Sherman truly looked like what he is, an aging vet coming off a massive Achilles injury.
He looked like an old man. Like he was getting crossed out. Like he was spinning around in circles, just confused. You know, he did not look
Darrell
good.
Rivas is sitting at home just loving every minute of that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
After that back and forth that they had, Darrell Rivas was just thrilled for that.
yeah.
Did you see the back and forth they had?
No. What happened?
So at the press conference after the NFC Championship, I don't remember what Sherman said, but Rivas just attacked him out of nowhere on social media, talking about that he doesn't like he's not a true like corner because he doesn't follow his guy across the field. He like hides in these different coverages, and Darrell Rivas just attacking him. And so Sherman kind of clapped back at him, but I mean, who got the last laugh here?
Yeah, I think Sherman is in a situation where his bark is becoming a lot more worse than his bite. I think he's getting up there.
Is this a situation where you see they maybe say to Sherman next year, move to a safety position?
I would like that actually. I never thought about it that. I think there's a lot less mobility that's needed in that position. Like I think him as a guy that plays more zones and like doesn't really do the man-to-man coverage as well anymore. Like I think that would be not bad.
Because I mean his leadership and his ability to be a captain on that team is still going to be very valuable.
Oh yeah. I think that's really, and I think that's something that, like him as a player, he needs to kind of understand like where's my value going into like 2020 beyond, right? Like where's really what do I bring to a team? And I think really those like you're saying, those leadership things. It's either like this is the make and break now, because you can either do that transition kind of to a more support role that either goes gracefully or it doesn't really work out, right?
Exactly, and a lot of players fall either they take that really in stride in their later career, or they end up being pushed out before they're ready.
Yeah,
and one person I think during this game that's taken a lot of unfair criticism is Jimmy Garoppolo. Now he didn't have a stellar game, but I don't think he had the worst game.
No, not at all. Like I think he was always a threat, and he was moving the ball pretty well, like overall.
That the last throw there to Emmanuel Sanders, pardon me, on that 3rd and 10. I mean, he hits him in stride there. I think you could be talking about this game very different because that might be a touchdown, but it's a hell of a tight throw.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think there's like obviously you want that to happen for him to catch it, but I think that just gives Mahomes the ball again with 2 minutes left to go down and score.
Oh, and Mahomes is red hot at that point.
But Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a couple ugly looks, like that first half interception where he got hit and he just threw a duck towards the sidelines. That wasn't pretty.
No.
But overall, he played a above average kind of game that I would have expected out of him. And I think San Francisco, they have their franchise QB in Garoppolo. I think he'll continue to get better. And I think I can see him taking San Francisco back to a Super Bowl in the future. Maybe not next year, but definitely in the future, I can see them back with him as QB.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they're definitely a team with, I think, a lot of depth. I think that was really what they brought to the table in this game. Like the defense is great, but their offense is still good to boot. And I think the Chiefs were like are a team that are a little bit more offense, like quarterback heavy. So the 49ers definitely have a nice balanced team that we're going to see, I think, for the next few years to come. Yeah,
like Deebo Samuel receiving for the 49ers, he's a hell of a player.
Oh yeah.
Hell of a player. Yeah. But I honestly, you could tell me next year is going to be a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl again, and I'd believe you. And sign me up, because I think it'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah, no, I think a rematch would be very exciting.
I agree. All right. Any other topics around the Super Bowl that you think need to be mentioned?
I think a halftime show needs to be talked about.
I think it's got to be talked about.
I mean, they definitely had something for everybody.
Yeah. Had men across the country reaching for pillows to cover their lap.
Yeah, that was a bold choice. That was a bold choice for sure.
I will say, do you know who the hell the other two Spanish guys were that came out?
Okay, the one guy that was dressed all in silver. Like, you know that guy? He looked like a discount Ali G. Do you remember that guy? I didn't understand the deal with that guy.
Yeah. And part of the thing is, I feel like I just didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize him.
That added with he was dressed like a spaceman, like it just was so out of place. Like, but they had they had rock, they had hip hop, they had like dance music, they had at the very end they had like this like old style like doo-wop stuff for the old folks,
I wish they would have brought Pitbull out though in Miami.
Yeah,
you gotta bring Pitbull out.
Pitbull, like get rid of the guy in silver, like be like no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
Bring in Pitbull instead. I'm talking that's a show.
And prayers up for everybody that had A-Rod to show up during the halftime show on that prop bet, because I thought that was a lot too. You win some, you lose some.